Good evening and welcome. This is the India Today newsroom. I'm Rahul Kamal. India's biggest tapping scandal is our top focus on the newsroom tonight.
It's potentially India's biggest ever tapping scandal. Tapped conversations on tape that blow the cover like never before off the breathtaking nexus between corporates, the government, Parliament and India's richest tycoons. A set of alarming conversations that aren't just floating around but are now on Prime Minister Modi's table. Tapes that shine the sharpest light ever on the terrifying wheels within wheels that run the India as we know it, or we thought we knew. The mind-numbing influence that a few powerful wield and use it to get their way anyway.
This is the 29-page complaint that's been filed by a Delhi-based Supreme Court lawyer Suren Uppal with the Prime Minister's office. The contents of this complaint are explosive and highly damaging. They suggest that Essar Group, one of India's top corporates, spied on its corporate rivals, also on some of India's biggest politicians, also on some of the top bureaucrats and politicians. We will get you details of this explosive complaint. We'll look at all the characters involved in the story. We'll get you the reactions from the corporate houses. Let's get started. Here are the top 10 headlines at 10 p.m. tonight. It's India's biggest tapping scandal. A Delhi-based lawyer alleges the Essar Group tapped the phones of top corporates, politicians and bureaucrats. Claims 200 incriminating calls are in his possession. Delhi's 400 crore water tanker scam reaches boiling point. Role of former Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit now under the scanner. Heat on Arvind Kejriwal for suppressing the fact-finding panel report for 11 months.
लोगों का पलायन वापसी नहीं हुआ, गुंडागर्दी खत्म नहीं हुई तो हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं को कैराना नहीं, कहीं भी जाने से कोई नहीं रोक पाएगा, ये चेतावनी के साथ मैं बता दें.
Even as BJP MLA Sangeet Som issues an ultimatum that he will be back with his march to Kairana in 15 days. Party leadership upset with him. BJP submits report to UP governor seeking a CBI probe. Samajwadi Party government denies any exodus.
हम मोदी साहब से कह रहे हैं कि जब गुजरात में दंगा हुआ था, गुजरात में दंगा हुआ था, वहाँ कितने लोग पलायन कर गए थे. पहले संगीत सोम और मोदी साहब प्रधानमंत्री जी.
Violent clashes erupt in Jammu and Kashmir's Sopore after two local Hizbul jihadis are eliminated in a fierce 5-hour gun battle. Police lobs tear gas shells to rein in protesters. Unsegregated waste triggers environmental hazard in Chennai. City waste dumped near Chennai's only surviving wetland poses a threat to the natural ecosystem. After a spate of controversies, a legal battle with the CBFC and over 70,000 online leaks, Urta Punjab finally off to a flying start. Shiv Sena protests in Punjab over abusive content. Heavy rains trigger massive waterlogging in Guwahati, inundating several parts of the city and leaving locals stranded. Gujarat Minister Shankar Chaudhary takes English classes in a school in his constituency, but the Mantri who claims to be an MBA cannot even spell the word elephant right. Cricketer Ravindra Jadeja lands in trouble for posing with a pride of lions at the Gir National Park. Jadeja and his wife Reena got down from the jeep and posed for pictures. Gujarat Forest Department orders probe as tourists are not allowed to click photographs near lions. A golden chance like never before for India. The men in blue take on mighty Australia in their maiden final of the Champions Trophy tonight. Let me take you through the explosive contents of this 29-page report that's been filed by a Delhi-based lawyer. He sent this report to the Prime Minister's office. In this report, Suren Uppal alleges that Essar Group from 2001 to 2006 spied on its corporate rivals it spied on top politicians, it spied on the country's top bureaucrats, and an effort was made to swing bank deals in the favor of this corporate house. This complaint and these tapes allegedly bring out some of the worst kept secrets of the way in which the system is managed by big corporates. Essar itself is denying that it ever authorized tapping of phone conversations. We'll get you reactions from Essar as well in just a moment from now. It's Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani and several officials of the Reliance Group who seem to have been the primary targets of the alleged interceptions, because they at that time were huge rivals of the Essar Group. Let me first bring you right at the top of newsroom tonight, Suren Uppal. He's an advocate of the Supreme Court of India. He's the complainant in this case. He worked with a whistleblower called Al-Basit Khan, who was between 2000 to 2011 the head of security at Essar. Let's listen first and foremost to what Suren Uppal has to say. His complaint on the 1st of June was submitted to the Prime Minister's office.
Sir, to begin with, what are the details of your complaint or the letter that you've written to the Prime Minister's office?
No, I would just mention a few things about it. A case had come to me with respect to certain incidents of interception, illegal interception, tapping and recording of conversations, which was being perpetrated by one of the corporate houses. Though not directly through their, completely through their own, so to say, licensed network, partially by that and secondly partially by BPL. So this is how an ex-employee of the same company, Essar House, had brought this information to me. And it was being brought with all good confidence that it should be brought and highlighted for the law of the land to make whosoever is responsible for the illegalities to be made accountable.
So usually matters like these are involved in a lot of complexities. For the understanding of our viewers, could you help us and give us some details about the sort of tappings there are or the sort of instances that have been quoted in the conversations or the excerpts that you have put forward to the Prime Minister's office?
The only thing that I would say is, because I would not like to name any person, they are highly respected, and even I respect the governments and the top officials and the ministers and also the top corporates. So I would not like to get into the details so far as the subject matter or the contents of conversations are considered. However, what I can say for sure is that these conversations, if are gone into and investigated, they would unravel and unearth a lot of crucial evidence which could be critical in terms of investigation into key decisions of certain governments.
There have been many scams which we have seen in the past decade. Could you name few scams or few instances of allocation of natural resources that could be very important as far as these conversations or excerpts are concerned?
I think subject to investigations, I mean, what could appear to me could be relevant from the point of view of telecom scams, the petrochemical scams, so to say, some extent yes, 2G scam as well, and a lot of information with respect to the way there has been nexus of corporates with the government and the way certain decisions have been taken right from parliament to the executive to even the inclination of media. Yes.
Because this is a very complicated story and we want to explain it to our viewers, let me take you through some information of who Suren Uppal really is, to understand who this lawyer is who's filed this sensational complaint with the Prime Minister's office. Suren Uppal is 41 years old. He studied law at Delhi University. He passed out in 2001. He's been practicing in the Supreme Court for 15 years. He has been a junior to P. Chidambaram and to former Attorney General Keshav Parasaran. He says several cases about alleged corruption in government transport contracts. Strongly denies the charge of extortion that's been leveled by the Essar Group, because remember, the Essar Group is accusing him of having tried to extort money. He says, I would not have served an official notice if what I wanted to do was extort money from Essar. He believes that the complainant Al-Basit Khan has been managed by the Essar group. I invited Suren Uppal to join us live on this broadcast. He said, I have done what I had to. I filed a complaint with the Prime Minister's office. I will now speak only to investigating agencies. He claims that he has more than 25 hours of conversation on CD. He says he's got these CDs. He's happy to show them to investigators. He claims in these CDs there are 200 particularly incriminating conversations between VVIPs, conversations that lie at the heart of this scam. He asks why has Essar not gone to court if the extortion charge against him is true. He claims Al-Basit Khan contacted him on the 20th of February 2016, that they worked together for several days. Al-Basit used to come sit in my office, he told me, for hours. He helped me build the case against Essar. Suren Uppal also says that on the 2nd of March 2016, he sent a legal notice to Essar asking if the company had any formal authority from the government to tap the phones of VVIPs. On the 10th of March 2016, he sent a legal notice to Reliance about alleged wrongdoing on the part of top Reliance officials. On the 18th of March 2016, he was accused by Essar of extortion. Remember, the group says he's not a whistleblower, he's not a crusader, he is a blackmailer. 21st April 2016, the original whistleblower in this case, Al-Basit Khan, turned hostile. Remember, Al-Basit Khan is the man who came to him with these CDs. Suddenly he turned hostile. After this, Al-Basit, he claims, went incommunicado and has not been in touch with him since. He claims to have met 3 senior cabinet ministers in the Modi government in the month of April and brought information to their knowledge, told them about the contents of the CD. On the 1st of June 2016, he finally went and filed this complaint with the Prime Minister's office. So who is the whistleblower? And also, who are the politicians who figured in this list? Remember, this goes back to 2001 till 2006 primarily. Amongst the politicians whose phones were tapped into, remember there are 50 numbers that were tapped into. Amongst the politicians are Pramod Mahajan, the former telecom minister. India Today is not independently able to verify the claims just now, but this is what is part of this lawyer's complaint to the Prime Minister's office. Amar Singh, the leader of the Samajwadi Party. Also in this list is Jaswant Singh, the former defense minister and senior BJP leader. Kirit Somaiya, the Lok Sabha member of parliament for the Bharatiya Janata Party from Mumbai. Praful Patel, former civil aviation minister and leader of the NCP. Now, who are the businessmen who are on this list? Right at the top of the pack is India's most noted industrialist Mukesh Ambani, chairperson of RIL. Then there's Anil Ambani, chairperson of the Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group. Tina Ambani, Anil Ambani's wife, is also amongst those whose phones have allegedly been tapped into. Then there's Amitabh Junjunwala, group managing director, vice chairman of Reliance, one of the stalwarts at Reliance. Then there is Manoj Modi, Mukesh Ambani's closest associate, his right-hand man. Tony Jesudasan, the former group president of the Reliance Group, the all-powerful Delhi hand of Reliance. Then there's KV Kamath, former chief executive officer, managing director of ICICI Bank. Then there is PP Vora, ex-chairperson of IDBI Bank. There's Subroto Rai, the chief of Sahara Parivar. These are the businessmen on that list. Now let me take you through the bureaucrats on this list. There's Brajesh Mishra, National Security Advisor at the time of Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, also Prime Minister Vajpayee's principal secretary. N.K. Singh, who was in the Prime Minister's office at the time of these alleged intercepts. Also on this list is Rajiv Maharishi, who currently is India's Home Secretary. These are the bureaucrats on that list. I want to now take you through Al-Basit Khan, because he is the shadowy figure who was the original whistleblower. Now he's gone completely hostile, but he's the original whistleblower in this case. So what do we know at this time of Al-Basit Khan? Let me take you through it one by one. Al-Basit Khan was working in the United Arab Emirates as a private security expert. He's a high-end private security expert. In the 2000 year, when the ruyas of Essar felt that they were receiving threatening calls and that people were working to undermine their business interests, they brought in Al-Basit Khan, who at that time was working as a drug enforcer, a private drug enforcer in the United Arab Emirates. Al-Basit Khan is a martial arts and fitness enthusiast. He stays officially at 8 Mota Mahal, B. Petit Street, Warren Road in Mumbai. This is his official address. We sent a correspondent to this address. When we went there, he wasn't there. He was hired in 2000 by the Ruya family when they believed that their business interests were being threatened, and that they were receiving threatening calls as well. He was in charge of private security. He gave them advice on how to handle their security. He worked with Essar for 11 years, from 2000 to 2011. He claims that he was sacked by Essar in 2011, but before that he was asked by Essar officials to tap phones of VVIPs. He says that what the management of Essar told him was that these phones had to be tapped because they had been authorized by the government. He claims he had no idea that these phones were being illegally intercepted or tapped into. In May 2011, his services were terminated because the Ruyas apparently got suspicious of his activities and therefore they asked him to leave. He claims to have retained a copy of the intercepted telecalls. He was allegedly upset at being sacked from Essar. That's what he's supposed to have told Suren Uppal when he met him first on the 6th of January 2016. He came to Suren Uppal's office. They had a long conversation. He said he had these phone conversations which he wanted to hand over to the lawyer. He said that these phone conversations revealed illegal activity which he wanted the lawyer to see and build a case on. On the 2nd of February 2016, Basit Khan handed over allegedly incriminating conversations to Suren Uppal and told him to study them. Suren Uppal then with his team worked on building a case. But on the 21st of April, and this is where it gets really murky, to 21st of April 2016, Basit Khan suddenly turned hostile. Suren Uppal tells me he hasn't been in touch with Basit Khan since. And that is something which Suren Uppal has absolutely no idea about. Abhimanyu Bhandari is an advocate of the Supreme Court. He's joining us on this broadcast. He has a sense of what Essar is saying in its defense. Ashutosh is with the Aam Aadmi Party. He did a press conference in the capital this evening. Shaina NC is representing the BJP. Also with us at this time is Meetu Jain. She's an investigative journalist. Sanjay Jha is representing the Congress Party. We've got Ajit Singh. He's a private investigator as well. I want to go across first and foremost to Ashutosh, because what we've seen, Ashutosh, in these conversations is, in these supposed conversations, nobody's heard these conversations. You've got a lawyer. He claims to have access to these conversations. This complaint has been filed with the Prime Minister's office. What do you, Ashutosh, believe needs to be done next?
See, this, according to the lawyer, this has already been given to the Prime Minister's office on 1st June 2016. And my information is that even the Prime Minister has been apprised about the entire thing in the month of March also, according to my sources. My first question is that if at all it has been, since it has been given to the Prime Minister's office, the first step which has to be taken is that an investigation should have been ordered by now. And the investigation should have begun by now. Not by any investigating agencies, but under the supervision, the monitoring of the Supreme Court, with few very, very eminent citizens of this country whose integrity and honesty nobody should question, because what we have seen in the case of Radia tips and other, it has not reached to anywhere. So the issue is that if we have to restore the faith in our democracy and parliamentary system, then it needs a very, very independent and fair investigation, because this letter, it hints at a very, very serious issue. And I'll just read. Through this complaint, I would like to mention that these conversations are of the highest concern to our national sovereignty, safety and security, and threatens the very foundation and principles of governance, rule of law and administration of justice. The names which has been mentioned in this conversation and the nature of the conversation, which clearly hints at that how even the judiciary, even the name of a judge is mentioned, of a Supreme Court, how he was bought and how the case was being influenced, one of the very powerful cabinet minister, there was an attempt to let him continue as a telecom minister, to let him continue as an INB minister. So this conversation is very important from that matter.
Okay,
There was also
you've had an opportunity, Ashutosh, to set the stage for this debate. We have a lot more to talk about. I also want to get in other guests. Shaina NC, this complaint was received by the Prime Minister's office on the 1st of June 2016. Can you give our viewers a sense of what the BJP government intends to do about this, Shaina?
Rahul, first and foremost, this is clearly a case of corporate espionage, which seems apparent. Essar on its part has denied all these allegations that they tapped these VVIP phones. The alleged conversations that took place between 2001 to 2005, I think first need to be investigated upon to find out what was factual, what was not. I think the more important debate here is that yes, an investigation will suggest what the actual motive behind this was, and at the same time I think we as a society need to be talking about what is legal and what is illegal interception. We all know of the pending bill which needs to be implemented, because the only concern from the government's point of view is national security and terrorism, which is paramount. So if there is a case of corporate espionage, and most importantly where the missing link is this gentleman who has suddenly disappeared from the frame of
Let me show our viewers, Shaina, what the corporates involved in this are saying. I'm coming back to you, Shaina, in just a moment. Let me take our viewers through first what the Essar group has said in its defense. It put out a statement earlier this evening. Let me take our viewers through that statement. This is what the head of security at Essar says. Suren Uppal, the lawyer from the Supreme Court, has concocted a completely false and baseless story. Essar's statement goes on to say he involved us in order to make extortionist demands. He is now looking to defame and pressurize us by using the media. We intend to proceed against him unless he tenders a public apology. He should withdraw these baseless allegations. Essar has never authorized any person to conduct phone surveillance. We welcome a full and complete investigation. I want to go across to Abhimanyu Bhandari. He has a sense of Essar's defense of this case. He's an advocate. Abhimanyu, what I don't understand is what Essar is saying, because what we've seen their defense, but Al-Basit Khan, when he was fired in 2011, he's the one who went to Suren Uppal in 2016 in the beginning of the year, handed over these CDs to him, said this is illegal telephone communications. Now he's completely saying the opposite. So what's going on? What is Essar making of the charges that are being leveled by Suren Uppal?
See, let me put it very frankly. First of all, this whole story is based on apparently some leakage which Basit Khan has done. Basit Khan on his part is saying, I have nothing to do with this whatsoever. I have never been involved in any of this tapping. I don't know anything about this. On the contrary, he is saying that Mr. Uppal, I have nothing to do with you. Please don't put my name in whatever plans you have and whatever you want to do with your imagination. So therefore, to put Basit Khan in this whole thing in itself is wrong, because Basit Khan himself has nothing to do with all this. If Basit Khan has nothing to do with all this, Rahul, then where does Essar come into the picture? I am asking, this whole show was based on that Mr. Uppal the lawyer, Mr. Uppal the lawyer. Where is this lawyer's client? Who gave this lawyer the tapes? Who has verified these tapes? And how old are these tapes? Are these tapes of last year? Are these tapes 2 years old? Are these tapes 3 years old? No, they are 15-year-old tapes, unverified, unsubstantiated. No one has ever heard them. No one really knows whose voice is whose. These are just sensational news that is just going around here. And Basit Khan, the person who everybody is pointing a finger at, he says, I have nothing to do with it. And sorry, how dare does Mr. Uppal say that Basit Khan has, I cannot communicate with Basit Khan and Basit Khan has gone hostile? How can you say Mr. Basit Khan has gone hostile? Where is the proof to show that Basit Khan in the first place wanted to show something?
Okay.
Or Basit Khan said that yes, I surveyed these phones and here is the material, I'm being a whistleblower. Where is that evidence? Where is that material?
Okay, you've had your say.
Therefore,
Abhimanyu, give me a moment.
This whole thing is based on one assumption after another assumption.
Okay, you're saying there are lots of assumptions. There are good points that you've made, and I want to put that question to Meetu Jain because she's working on the story for several days now. Meetu, Essar says at the heart of this story is a supposed whistleblower called Basit Khan, who now says he is no whistleblower at all. At the heart of the story are CDs that he supposedly handed over to Suren Uppal. He says those CDs are not my intercepts. So at several levels, Essar is questioning the very basis of the claims that lawyer Suren Uppal is making.
Well, what Basit Khan also told me, let me take forward from what you've said, what he also told me when I spoke to him a short while ago, is that he's not denied that these tapes exist, okay? And therefore he's not denied that these conversations exist. So the whistleblower in the first place is admitting that these tapes are there and therefore these conversations are there. What he is telling me instead is that these tapes were handed over to him by a Mumbai crime branch official. A police official of Mumbai crime branch handed these tapes to the Basit Khan, who was an employee of Essar, and the Mumbai crime branch was handing over incriminating crucial evidence to an employee of Essar, the very Essar that they were actually putting under surveillance. That is the claim of Basit Khan. Now, if you take that claim at face value, this entire issue becomes even more serious and much more dangerous. What Basit Khan is saying, therefore, is that it was Mumbai crime branch that was actually investigating, or rather putting all these people under surveillance. It is not just Essar, it is not just Mukesh Ambani, it is also the Prime Minister's office. Now, why the hell would the Mumbai crime branch put the Prime Minister's office, put the entire union cabinet in NDA 1 under surveillance? Now, I think it's just better rather than Essar to kind of do this kind of a cover-up, just to come out with the truth, because what Basit Khan is also saying is that the officer who gave him the tapes is an officer who is no longer alive. Vijay Salaskar is that brave officer who died in the 26/11 attack. Vijay Salaskar is the one, he says, it's a very sensational claim he's made to Outlook once again. He says that Vijay Salaskar is the one who gave him those tapes. Now, when I asked him as to why would Salaskar do something as foolish as this is case property, why would he hand it over to him? He says that he and Salaskar were great friends and therefore he never questioned him. Fair enough. Let's believe for a moment that Vijay Salaskar would do something of that sort. What Basit Khan is not able to
stay with me, Meetu, just for a moment. I want to take our viewers through the contents of this letter. This is the letter that was sent to us at 3:24 p.m. this evening. It's from Basit Khan to Suren Uppal. In this, Basit Khan says that I'm writing to express my shock and dismay at the articles that have appeared this morning. In substance, you have alleged that I engaged in some illegal surveillance, interception and tapping of phones during my employment association with Essar. As you're fully aware, the said allegation is absolutely incorrect, false and baseless, and a story is being concocted by you to engage in a criminal enterprise. He says, I met you in January 2016. I sought your advice regarding certain tape recordings that have been given to me for safekeeping by a senior police official of the Mumbai crime branch during my association with him, the source and authenticity of which now he claims is unknown. So this is Vijay Salaskar. Sipal Singh is a former police officer. He is with us on this broadcast. There's also Rishi Raj, the executive editor of Financial Express. To you, Mr. Singh, first. Now, there's suddenly a police officer who's jumped into this very murky scandal already. That police officer is dead. Now the supposed whistleblower is saying, I didn't do the intercepts for Essar. These intercepts came from Vijay Salaskar, and God bless his soul, is no longer with us.
Rahul, the very fact your reporter has told that she had talked to this Khan earlier and he admitted he had given. Now he denies. He has just taken a reverse view. The reason is that now probably whatever say, whether it has been purchased, managed, whatever it is, he doesn't want his ex-employees to land into labor.
But he's the one who originally gave out these tapes. At that time, clearly he had an axe to grind.
It's all the more reason that there should be immediate proper investigation before further proofs are taken away. There may be some further links, there may be further leads from this particular thing. Now you give out one tape, From that tape, one lead gives to other lead, whether there is financial matter discussed. There's an ex-revenue secretary, N.K. Singh's name mentioned. What did he do?
Okay.
What did he talk? So therefore, before this destruction takes place, before the corporate sectors sabotage this investigation, it is the duty of the government and the administration to immediately order investigation. Investigations should also be, absolutely objective. Every time some investigation comes, it is either one against the other, either one party against the other, either one political party against the other, either one group against the other. No objective investigation.
China
unless there is objective
China
investigation.
these charges are mostly about, the supposed conversations are mostly about NDA 1, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was India's Prime Minister. Is the Narendra Modi government prepared to order a probe? Because what is required clearly is a thorough, complete, independent probe to ascertain who's speaking to whom and is it correct. Now I want to show our viewers that. Just give us a moment to show you what these conversations actually show, because remember, we're not taking any names just yet because we haven't been independently able to ascertain the veracity of the conversations and authenticate it ourselves. But generally speaking, if you look at all these conversations, they throw up a very, very disturbing picture, about how policy decisions are made, about how corporates seem to know about decisions that governments will take, about parliamentary committees and what they're going to do. But here's a disclaimer, first and foremost, that India Today has decided not to air the transcripts since at this time they cannot be independently verified. The tapes allegedly show how big corporate houses manage the executive, even the parliament, and also the country's top bankers. Most conversations were recorded between 2001 and 2006, largely during the NDA 1 government of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. 20 conversations have allegedly been brought to the notice of Prime Minister Modi and his office. Alleged tapes raise questions about the reach and power of India's top corporate houses and their ability to swing decisions in their favor. The tapes raise serious questions about the ability of corporate houses to influence government policy and even the decisions of parliamentary committees. The tapes raise questions also about the ability of corporate houses to influence budget decisions, because at some instance there's a conversation about a budget decision which is going to be announced in some time to come with an official in the Prime Minister's office. You've got a top corporate leader doing that. Rishi Raj, these are very, very serious charges. Now, you can say, Kejriwal says sab mile hue, and generally the Aam Aadmi also believes ki sab mile hue, the big houses fix government decisions. But the fact here is that we need to identify who these voices are. We need to know whether these tapes are genuine, whether the people are actually saying what they are supposed to have said, or whether it's all edited. All that needs to be thoroughly probed, Rishi Raj.
Rahul, you are perfectly right. We have been in journalism for long years. We all know it's an age-old allegation that lobbying does happen. Policy decisions are basically swung to benefit one group or other group. These allegations, meaning these are well documented, these have been reported, but if something comes on tape, obviously it's very disturbing, because it generally shows the murky world behind actually what's happened. And anyway, now we are living in a very transparent, where we swear by transparency also. So if any such thing comes to light, first and foremost thing is basically to...
What do you think should be done?
Is to be probed and to basically set to
no, because China NC, if these tapes go online, there'll be all kinds of muck flying around. X is speaking to Y, he's fixing this, he's fixing that. Would it not be best for the Modi government to immediately order a probe, so that this is thoroughly probed, for us to establish whose voices are these, what are they saying to each other, are corporate leaders talking to people in government, what do these conversations show? Yes, China.
Rahul, when does one initiate a probe? Based on the authenticity or the veracity of it? Now you have conversations from 2001 to 2006 by this alleged lawyer, where the person who has provided the so-called conversation is absconding. You have Essar, who is the corporate, who has just put their hands up and said they have nothing to do with it. So I think that we have to have faith that let our system and our intelligence agencies first debate whether this is authentic or not, or whether this is put together. If it is authentic, clearly our government will investigate. But I don't think that this is just about one issue of corporate espionage. I think the larger question that we should be talking about is how does one determine about, in cases such as this, as what is legal, what is illegal, where
focus on that. I agree with that. I agree with that. I want to focus on that. Let me take our viewers through right now. You're right, China. Let me explain that to our viewers. Let me explain that to our viewers. First and foremost, let me show you the technology involved in this alleged interception. This supposed tapping was done in the Essar offices of Delhi and Mumbai, one at a guest house and the other in their basement. The tapping happened through BPL and Hutch Services. BPL, remember, at that time was owned by the Essar group. Cell-to-cell interception method was used. I'm going to ask Ajit Singh what that really means. Broadly speaking, and in layman's language, this is done through prepaid interceptor SIM cards. You duplicate the number that you wish to tap into, you have it available with you in your interception room, and that's how you're able to tap into what the other person is saying. Ajit Singh is a private investigator. He's with us on this broadcast. 2001 is 15 years ago. A lot has changed in terms of technology since then. Explain to our viewers, sir, what cell-to-cell interception is. How does this technology work? How did these interceptions happen, sir?
Yeah, there are three types of ways where you can intercept the phone calls. Number one, you have your own exchange. You don't have to go to the SIM cards. You don't need anything. It's very simple. Number two, there is a machine. It is available. One can get it from outside. On that machine, you can just put the number and you can intercept. You can record the whole conversation of that mobile phone. Number three is SIM card to SIM card, which is equivalent difficult for a person. Only the agencies can do this. It's a clone. They can make a clone of that SIM card, and easily it can be recorded parallelly to the different location. So all three are easy for these people, because the machine which is available in the international market, it worth around 5 crore rupees. So for these bigger houses, or maybe anybody else who want to record the conversation, because it is less of a industrial espionage, more of a corporate controversy.
To take our viewers through what Shaina just said, because she was asking about who all can tap, what is the norm, and whether this was illegal. It was totally illegal, and let me explain why. Who all can actually authorize tapping? Under section 5(2) of the amended Indian Telegraph Act 1885, agencies are permitted to intercept in case of a public emergency. That's the official norm. And you're also supposed to take permission. So which are the agencies that can actually tap? The Central Bureau of Investigation, the Intelligence Bureau, the Research and Analysis Wing, the Enforcement Directorate, the NTRO, or the National Technical Research Organization. These are the organizations that are legally authorized to tap. Also, the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. All of them need to seek permission from the Ministry of Home Affairs before the tapping can start. Even the Narcotics Control Bureau. Mr. Sipal Singh, remember, whether it's the income tax that's tapping, the state police that's tapping, you have to speak first to the Home Ministry, either at the state or the center, get permission. Only then can the tapping start. Corporates can't be doing this.
Precisely. There are two ways. One, he has said about the machine. It's very easy. Something happened some time back. We had to know how many machines have been imported here. Such machines which can directly tap. And who has purchased this machine? After this machine is not available in India, you can easily find out who was imported, where these machines are in the investigation. Secondly, you are right that unless you get the permission of the Home, even Revenue Intelligence and even narcotic bureaus, even the drugs, they all have to get permission from the Home Ministry. Only a few organizations which are either police or central police organizations.
But they also have to take permission, sir.
They also have to take permission, but there are certain Act says and certain emergency cases, terrorist crime,
because this became, me too, a big controversy when all the off-the-air interceptor machines started coming in. I remember very clearly that 3,000 off-the-air interceptor machines were brought in 500 were brought in by government agencies, 2,500 were brought in by God knows whom. Nobody ever figured that out, and therefore every single interceptor machine actually needs to be tracked very, very carefully. You can't have corporates and private individuals tapping each other's phones.
Interesting. I want to say one thing. You are already taking a recourse that so-and-so Khan has already absconded. Absconding is no word. A few hours back, your reporters had talked to. It's not absconding.
Okay. I also want to bring in at this time Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party. He's been listening in on this debate so far. Sanjay, what is it the Congress Party believes needs to be done here? You've got the Prime Minister's office involved now. These complaints have reached the Prime Minister's office. You've also got these CDs with the Prime Minister's office. What do you believe the government in power needs to do, Sanjay?
See, Rahul, while prima facie it's a very obvious case of corporate malfeasance, whether it's espionage or spying or tapping, whatever you want to call it, I think there is a larger message that is emerging. Number one, there are people who are even today in Mr. Narendra Modi's cabinet who have featured in those transcripts. Those transcripts are available right now online, and people can go and read them. I'm also not naming them, because end of day it should fructify at the end of an investigation. Shana and C, kindly be patient. I'll not take too long. The question I'm can you kindly pause for a moment while I finish? Rahul, the critical point.
There's so many
guests talking over each other. Let's do it one at a time. Let Sanjay Jha finish. I promise to come to you in a moment, Shaina. Yes, Sanjay, I've already told her that. Go ahead, please. Complete your argument.
Yeah. So, Rahul, the simple point is, from what one has read in the transcripts on the website of outlookindia.com, it is very obvious that there are very senior ministers, there are people who are in the PMO of Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, who were directly dealing with the bureaucrats and the business and many other lobbies, and there is talk about the JPC. I remember working at that point of time for a foreign institutional company, and the JPC stock market scam, they say, was actually fixed in the transcripts that have been coming out, which means you're talking about millions of investors who were taken for a ride. Now, this cannot be sorted out, and I completely agree with Ashutosh, by sitting on these files for the last 20 days. Frankly speaking, the Prime Minister should have by now instituted a very impartial and a highly respected Supreme Court judge, and under the investigation of the Supreme Court, it should be a CBI or an SIT monitor.
Anshuman Bandari, I want to hear from you. Is that something that the Essar group is okay with? Abhimanyu Bandari, are you all right with a probe?
No.
Should there not be a probe in this immediately?
Completely wrong. This is see, I'm not a spokesperson for Essar here, but what I'm trying to tell you is that we are assuming these tapes to be true when no one has verified these tapes. We don't even know where these tapes have come from. The creator of this alleged tape says, I have nothing to do with it. The lawyer says, my client has given me those tapes. The client says, sorry, I have nothing to do with this lawyer. So therefore, this whole case is based on assumptions. This is like Alice going in Wonderland and finding things which pleases her, and we are discussing complete things where we have not even seen the tapes. We don't know what is in the tapes.
To you.
Now we are talking about one scam which may have happened because
you're calling this an Alice in Wonderland story. It's either the biggest tapping scandal India has ever seen, but you're a Supreme Court lawyer. You're calling this Alice in Wonderland.
Judges of Supreme Court involved in it. This is atrocious.
I want to tell this gentleman, is it not true that a very prominent BJP leader was holidaying on a yacht on an Essar yacht?
One at a time, gentlemen.
It has been
one at a time. I really admire the audacity of Mr. Abhimanyu Bandari.
Go on, Ashutosh.
Rahul.
None of us have heard any of those tapes. We don't know whether those tapes exist, whether they are true. Can we breach other people's privacy in this manner?
No, Abhimanyu, please listen to me. Abhimanyu, please listen to me. There are two issues in this. The issue is that firstly, that even that tapping has been done to the second most powerful man after Atal Bihari Vajpayee, that is Brajesh Mishra. That's a very, very serious thing. Secondly, the content of the tapping is extremely serious. Now, if it is such a serious thing, even if it has been alleged and assumed, I think it needs a thorough investigation. And Abhimanyu Bandari should be the first one to even appreciate that investigation should happen. Essar should also come out and openly say, please investigate the matter. The point is, Do not say that is Alice in the Wonderland. That means there is certain amount of guilt setting in. And I want to ask to Abhinav Bhandari one question. Where are Ruiyas right now? Are they in India? Are they outside? Can he please explain
okay,
to me?
I'm out of time, so quick final words from all my guests.
Sorry,
let Abhimanyu come in.
I am not Mr. Ruiya's personal secretary. I am not Mr. Ruiya's personal secretary. I am here on a larger issue. I am on the issue that as a political democracy, as a mature democracy, which have
Rahul,
rights of freedom of expression, we need to be careful when we start analyzing and looking at other people's privacy.
Okay, one second. I call time because we are running out of time. I want to get final words from everyone. Just turn those two mics down, please. Turn these two mics down. I must tell our viewers that the Ruiyas, both Prashant and Shashi Ruiya, are very much in India. Prashant Ruiya is currently in Mumbai. Shashi Ruiya is in Delhi at his 30 January mark residence. I want to go across to Meethu Jain. Quickly, final words from all my guests. Meethu, what do you believe needs to be done next?
Of course, we need to hold an inquiry, and that's what Suren Uppal is saying. I believe he's even planning to file a PIL in the Supreme Court. But that apart, I just want to counter that little allegation made by Abhimanyu Bhandari, who's calling this an Alice in Wonderland, and he's saying that Al-Basit Khan is denying the existence of these tapes. He is not denying the existence of these tapes. He's saying that this phone tapping was done by Mumbai Crime Branch, and these tapes were given to him by Vijay Salaskar. If that is the case, then this becomes an even more serious issue. Mumbai Crime Branch needs to be questioned as to why they were tapping the Prime Minister's phones, and why were they tapping corporates like Mukesh Ambani's phones? What is that illegality that they were doing, and how can a police department in Mumbai tap the Prime Minister's phones? So this is an attempt at a cover-up, and I think it's better that we just go in for a proper
Shaina,
inquiry.
can you give us a timeline for when this inquiry will be ordered by? Can you commit to a timeline, please? Because this is very serious.
Can't,
why not?
No. Because there is something called the authenticity of this, and
no, but that needs to be probed into, Shaina. Unless the tapes get probed into. Yes. So who is going to probe them? You are going to probe them. You're in government.
But one moment. Yes, absolutely, but hear me out. If there is a conversation, the authenticity of that conversation, and I think the larger question of where
you keep talking about the authenticity. Absolutely, you keep talking, Shaina, about the authenticity of this tape. How will the authenticity of the tape? Okay, final word, Sanjay. I'm out of time completely.
Hear me out. Absolutely, an investigation will take place, but you cannot put a gun on my head and say when.
Okay, Sanjay, 20 seconds. I'm out of time.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. 20 seconds, Sanjay.
Rahul, the proximity of a very prominent BJP political leader with the Essars is well known. This is a can of worms. That leader was holidaying on a yacht, a service and a hospitality provided by Essar. These need to be investigated.
Can I also say that there are some tapes beyond 2004 also? Sanjay Jha, there are tapes of the Congress Party's term as well. It's not just the NDA. It's not just the NDA, which is why, you know, that whole saying that the Aam Aadmi has, not the Aam Aadmi Party, but the real Aam Aadmi has been saying ki sab mile hue. So that's the concern that this tape allegedly raises. Absolutely, I agree with that. Here's what I believe needs to be done. Instead of letting all this muck fly, what is required is for the BJP. I'm out of time. Ashutosh, 10 seconds. I'm out of time.
Rahul, let me
go on.
See, राहुल मेरा बहुत साफ तौर पे कहना है कि प्रधानमंत्री को फौरन ये टेप मंगाने चाहिए अपने पास, उसकी ऑथेंटिसिटी टेस्ट करानी चाहिए, और ऑथेंटिसिटी प्रूव होने के बाद इसको पब्लिक डोमेन में डाल देना चाहिए, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट मॉनिटरिंग जज इसका इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए.
Okay, we'd leave it there.
दुनिया को पता चले.
We'd leave it there. Here's what we know is going to happen next. There will be a PIL in the Supreme Court, which Suren Uppal is saying he wants to file. Prashant Bhushan, in a previous case to do with Essar itself, is already in the Supreme Court about favors that Essar allegedly gave to certain journalists, and that already is in the Supreme Court. This case too may go to the Supreme Court, but the government independently needs to order a probe. Otherwise, we'll have all kinds of muck flying around. This, make no mistake, is the biggest tapping scandal India has seen, and it's really a pity that the other TV channels, our competitors, aren't talking about the biggest story there is today. There is no other story. This is the only story, and it needs to be tracked very carefully, responsibly, calmly, coolly. It needs to be tracked. This is where I end this broadcast by thanking all my guests. You'll be hearing a lot more about this story in the hours and days to come. We'll keep tracking it very, very closely. We're slipping into a quick break. News and updates continue when we come back on the other side. Stay with us.